right-of-way violations. Smidsy, sorry mate, I didn't see you. And looked but failed to see. All common terms, a very common collision that involves motorcyclists on a very, very regular basis. I've got a video clip for you today. I'd appreciate your thoughts. Hello there and welcome. So I previously have done a video called Smidsy, which outlines some of the areas of perhaps why cars don't see motorcyclists. And we're often talking about the risks of junctions, and that is anywhere another vehicle can potentially come into your path and cause you a problem. And as motorcyclists, we really have to own how carefully we deal with junctions, because we know that other road users may be careless and not see us. And sometimes it's just a coincidence of situations, if you like, that creates a possibility that you're not going to get seen and someone will actually pull out in front of you. But we do bear some responsibility for our own protection. So one of my viewers, Glenn, has very kindly sent me a video clip. He wants me to show this video clip so it might help other riders, and he also asked for a little bit of advice as to how he could have avoided the situation. Let's have a look at that clip. So Glenn is not an inexperienced road user. In fact, he's recently retired, and he's passed his test for a few months when this incident happened. And sadly, as a result of it, his motorcycle was written off, but more importantly, he sustained 2 broken arms from which he's still recovering. Now, I'm pleased to say that Glenn has bought another motorcycle and he is now starting to get out and ride a little bit more, although naturally very nervous around junctions. So it's all very well looking at a video and being wise after the event and saying, well, we could have done this and we could have done that and perhaps you should have seen this, etc, etc. And I don't think a camera's perspective will always show the full story, but this is a useful little clip to have a look at and just bear in mind. So although this is a mini roundabout, it can be regarded in much of the same way as any junction can. As you're approaching that junction, roundabout, good scanning, sweeping views. Let's see what we've got. What can you see? What can't you see? What can you expect to happen? So in this situation, we see the car fairly early, and it looks as though Glenn has slowed down a little bit just to maybe confirm what the cars coming towards him are going to do, perhaps making sure that one of them isn't going to turn right in front of his path without indicating. So he's slowed there on the approach. He's then made the decision to go onto the roundabout, which at that time is perfectly reasonable and correct. I looked at his road positioning here and noticed that he entered the roundabout okay, and then he seems to have gone to the left a little bit and then brought himself back to the right. Now, all through this process you can see the car approaching. We can't see where the driver's looking or what he's doing, maybe because of the way the light is just shining on the windows, so there's a lot of information there that we're not getting. However, what I noticed with the car is he doesn't appear to be reacting to Glenn, he doesn't appear to be reacting to the roundabout. So when we want to avoid situations like this, it's important that we are aware of what that other vehicle is doing. Does it appear to be slowing? Are there signs of braking? Is there an indication? Where is the driver looking? Can you see his hand placement on the steering wheel? None of these things on their own may be conclusive, but as a picture, as a cluster of things, they may indicate what is about to happen. Had I been riding that motorcycle, I would like to see that BMW physically be reducing its speed, and I'd like to have seen some form of dipping at the front of the vehicle to indicate maybe that the brakes were being used. I didn't see any of that in the video. And there comes a certain point where you realise he's absolutely not reacting. He doesn't appear to have seen the motorcycle at all. This is another reason why when using the system of position, speed, gear, acceleration, being in a flexible or the correct gear, whichever way you'd like to look at it, is invaluable, because there comes a point where you can't stop and you can only accelerate to escape. Unfortunately, with a new and inexperienced motorcyclist, that's not always going to be an option. But it's certainly worth considering, because as a motorcycle, one of your strengths is your acceleration. And when things start to go a little bit crunchy, a little bit wrong, it's not always a case of bringing the bike to a stop. Sometimes it's a case of escaping with acceleration. With any situation where a vehicle can merge into your path, your visibility, your zones of vision are critical. When you see that a road is wide open, you have the view, and therefore it's easier to start making decisions and seeing what's going on. And in the situation of that mini roundabout in the clip, it had quite a reasonably wide view, and that's quite helpful. I'm going to look at a mini roundabout here in the rural, and let's look at it from different aspects, because the zones of vision vary. So at the mini roundabout ahead, I'm going to turn right. I've got one vehicle behind me, and I can just see the road sign for 30 coming into view now, and the mini roundabout sign is down there with the sharp deviation of route. I'm going to give an early signal for the vehicle and not get too close to the white line because of the blind bend. I'm going to slow down a little bit earlier just to control the vehicle behind me. I'm going to come in gently. Let's see what view we get. A great view to the right, there's the view to the left. So I'm going to come on very, very gently. There we go, he's stopped, he's stable, and it's job done. Could never guarantee that someone will stop, so my speed at that point was nice and slow, so that had that car emerged, I could have reacted to him. The problem with going around a roundabout, of course, is that you are cornering, and what you don't want to be doing is braking with the front brake firmly or suddenly when you're cornering. Okay, let's approach the roundabout and turn right from a different perspective now. Just saw the shadow and the reflection in the glass of this oncoming car. Thank you. So checking the mirrors, I have no vehicles behind, and I have zero visibility to the right and restricted visibility to the left. So I'm going to come in very slowly into first gear. Approach very gently. Good visibility now in both directions. Great view across, so no problem at all. We can just get on with it. And it's that zone of vision, what you can see, that really helps you out. Now when you're approaching a roundabout and your visibility is not opening up, then you require a much greater degree of caution. I think when we looked at Glenn approaching the roundabout in the video clip, he had a lot of caution. He wasn't fast into the roundabout, he was assessing it and he was monitoring it. So we'll now approach the mini roundabout from the final direction to turn right. And as we can see, the visibility to the right is massively reduced. One car behind, timely signal, positioning slightly to the right. Now I've got to get my speed right down, because if someone shoots across there at the last minute, I'm just a target. And I've seen it before where people have cut right across that roundabout going straight across the central white paint. If you go onto there too fast with restricted vision, you've had it. So to summarise, what could Glenn have done differently here at this roundabout to prevent him from that collision? I think the initial thing is just being aware that that car didn't appear to be slowing down. It wasn't showing signs of responding to him. Of course, even if a driver does look at you, it doesn't necessarily mean they've seen you. They may see right through you, and I've had that happen to me in the past. That would have been my first concern, that realising that that vehicle just was not slowing. And so for me, I would have tried to accelerate much more rapidly to clear the hazard, to clear the roundabout before that vehicle came on. Of course, if the vehicle had been a little bit closer, the decision could have been made not to enter the roundabout at all. Sometimes you just get a sixth sense about the way somebody's driving, and I think it's often wise to take notice of it. There's a reason that you get these little feelings, these little gut feelings. And the more attentive you are to what's going on around you, the more likely you are to pick up on these things. So I would welcome your views on this video. What do you think? how would you have done anything differently? Would you have reacted to the car, or would you have been also struck by the car? And don't forget, when you're a new rider, there's very often a lot going through your head. Even though you've passed your test, you're not completely at one with your motorcycle necessarily. So as I say, I'd welcome your views, and also thank you again to Glenn for sharing this clip. And Glenn, I wish you well with your recovery and your future biking. So until next time, ride safe and take care.